Aglorev Magazine Live is brought to you by
Veroga Leilani's Energy Exchange. Express yourself without saying a word.
And
Aglorev Entertainment. Mind, body, soul, energy, healing.
Welcome back to Aglorev Magazine Live, your reliable source for navigating the 3D. I'm here to help you understand and manage your intuition, navigate the game of hearts, and be aware of global dangers. And then, after doing all of that, I attempt to cheer you up with some giggles before I send you off. Now, if you've never had your birth chart done, I would advise you to do that. It will help you follow along and know more specifically how the energies are affecting you. That is a service that I provide, and you can reach me through my site. In this volume of Aglorev Magazine Live, we'll delve into the world of polyamory. Is it for you? Sydney Sweeney raises controversy over her genes, J and G version. The world is volatile as earthquakes and tsunamis rival records. Love Island UK and Big Brother updates with Bachelor in Paradise red flags. And then, as my thanks for staying around and listening to the movie recommendation, I got some fresh laughs for you. Thanking you for your attention and support. And leave requests and suggestions if you have any in the comments. There is a really nice balance of energy this week. You have the Sun and Mercury retrograde in Leo. This is peak performance. This is a true alignment with self, the soul, our individual purpose. Leo is ruled by the Sun. It's fixed fire. It's life-giving and light-producing. It embodies creativity, power, energy, consistency, eternity. It's our connection to the overall power grid of the universe. So, with the Sun in Leo, we're in alignment. All we need to do is be ourselves, to be who we know who we are, to recognize our strengths and accept our flaws. All are a part of what makes us original. With Mercury in Leo, we speak our truth. We speak with confidence. We focus our mental energy on being our best. But in retrograde, we also look inward. We observe our own center. Leo can be its own worst enemy. So with Mercury in retrograde, really just have to watch yourself. Things can always go mad outside of us. But really, all the retrograde stuff is really focused on our own thinking, not thinking ourselves into a predicament. All of this is in opposition to Pluto in Aquarius. So our own self-interest and inter-focus is the perfect counter to the chaos and unpredictability of the external world. Mars in Virgo. So even though we're in the middle of a summer or winter, depending on where you're located, we have enough opportunity to make progress, to really ground our idea and vision into reality, to commit to the work required to achieve our aspirations. And Mars in Virgo really heightens intellectual capabilities. So even if you're on a holiday, especially a Jet 2 holiday, keep your mental focus in momentum active. Venus in Gemini really balances a lot of this intense Leo in Virgo energy. It chills things out, makes things more efficient, speeds up the process, and it makes conversations and interactions with others interesting and dynamic. Even though the other three personal planets, the Sun, Mercury, and Mars, are in very self-interested and intensely focused areas, Venus in Gemini reminds us to be playful and not take ourselves too seriously. Work intensely, interact lightly, The moon supports Venus in Gemini, but on the 29th, it moved from Libra into Scorpio and will end in Sagittarius on Sunday. The best approach to these transits is to commit to being emotionally receptive. Try your best to take the middle path, to observe, to see both sides of every situation. In Libra, you're just balancing on the tightrope. 1 foot in the light, 1 foot in the dark. Never too up or down. Scorpio, towards the weekend, will start to pull on our emotions, but the key is to be the spider, just sitting on your web, letting it catch whatever comes your way, and then taking your time to process everything. A lot of magic can happen with Scorpio moon, but that energy can be volatile, so it requires emotional mastery. In this case, making a commitment to not get triggered by anything, but to treat everything with a deeper intent, to process things on a deeper level. So focus on aligning with your true individual core energy. Just breathe your own light. Focus on the things that matter most. And also engage with the outside world with a sense of ease, with a sense of pleasure, emotional balance, accepting any tension or weirdness that comes your way as raw energy to be used for something positive. Now a little on Chiron. On July 30th, Chiron, the asteroid known as the Wounded Healer, will begin its annual retrograde in the sign of Aries. Chiron has been in Aries since 2018 and won't leave until 2027. So the Aries area of your birth chart has been feeling it for years, especially this year. Chiron represents the pain, the hurt, suffering, and uncomfortable situations that we experience that lead to our wisdom, growth, knowledge, compassion, strength, etc. Chiron retrograde in Aries is going to encourage all of us to reflect on our own wounds that we may thought were healed, not to disrupt our lives or twist the knife in our back. It's purely to tell us that, hey, we need to find the right medicine that fully and officially heals this. Between July 30th, 2025, all the way to January 2nd, 2026, we can expect for very strong themes of like individualization, independence, self-worth, autonomy, etc. Any wounds that have been restricted this or held this back are going to come up so that we can find independence, individualization, autonomy. Retrograde may bring up intense emotions related to past failures or past insecurities, or even just the feeling that you had to fight for everything that you've accomplished. It's asking us to thank the parts of ourselves that had to be brave and independent so young, before we should have had to. If you were born between 1968 to 1977, then you most likely have Chiron and Aries in your birth natal chart, meaning you are experiencing this healing period the most. So we need to honor our scars, unlearn that belief that we have to prove ourselves to feel worthy. Also, realize that our value, our worthiness, or our success are not hinged on constant motion, control, achievements, accomplishments, or results. Take time to heal, rest, and grow internally before needing to surround yourselves with accomplishments or medals. You are perfectly you. You had to experience that you've had to teach you how to protect whomever you are becoming. Love yourself. Praise yourself. No one else gets to be you.
Nope.
Polyamory is a non-monogamous relationship style where people mutually agree to have multiple physically intimate or romantic relationships. Monogamy, or the practice of having only one romantic or physically intimate partner, is the most practiced type of relationship style in the United States. However, according to statistics, roughly 8 to 10% of the population practices polyamory. It is a form of consensual non-monogamy in which a person is involved with multiple romantic or physically intimate partners. And although millions of people across the world and around the country are in consensual polyamorous relationships, there's still a significant misunderstanding of what polyamory means and what these relationships entail. And this misunderstanding often leads to a stigma, a negative or discriminatory attitude against people in these types of relationships. I'll share with you what you need to know about polyamory, including the different types of polyamorous relationships, how to establish healthy boundaries in polyamory. Polyamory is a form of ethical, consensual non-monogamy that involves having a romantic or physically intimate relationship with multiple partners at the same time. Ethical or consensual non-monogamy describes relationships in which all parties are aware of and consent to practice non-monogamy. Consent is crucial in ethical non-monogamy. One of the most important parts of being polyamorous is making sure that you and any romantic or physically intimate partner you have are aware of and consenting to the relationship you have with them and others. Polyamory can look different from person to person. Each relationship is unique and can be designed in any way that feels right and resonates to everyone involved. There are common terms used to describe not only the different styles of polyamory relationships that a person can have, but also the different types of people involved. Hierarchical polyamory involves a hierarchical system that includes primary and secondary partners. Primary partners take priority over other partners or relationships. This often describes partners who are married, living together, or have families together. Primary partners can form additional secondary relationships, but these relationships do not have the same level of priority that the primary relationship does. Non-hierarchical polyamory does not involve a ranking of partners, which means that every relationship or partner, whilst unique, is viewed equally. So someone in this type of polyamorous relationship with multiple partners would consider these partners equal, even if the relationships all function differently. Polyfidelity is a type of non-hierarchical polyamory in which there are no ranking as partners. However, in this type of relationship, the partners are all exclusive to one another and are not seeking or open to new relationships. Polyfidelity often includes two common relationship types. A triad. This describes relationships in which three people are physically intimate or romantically involved with each other, also known as a throuple. Quad. This describes a relationship in which four people are in a romantic or physically intimate relationship together. V, which comes from the letter V, describes a relationship in which one partner has two separate romantic or physically intimate partners. Unlike a triad, in which all three individuals are in the relationship together, the partners of the shared person in the V are not involved with each other. And there's solo poly. Whilst there is no set definition for solo poly, it often is used to describe multiple types of polyamorous people, such as those who are single and identify as polyamorous, sometimes called single poly, those who are in casual or committed polyamorous relationships but choose to live alone, those who are in a polyamorous relationship and don't live alone but still prioritize themselves or their own needs. When someone is solo poly, whether single, dating, or otherwise, the primary focus of their major life decisions is themselves rather than the relationship. Monopoly relationships describe a type of relationship in which someone who is monogamous is in a relationship with someone who is polyamorous. This is also sometimes called hybrid relationship. In this type of relationship, the person who is polyamorous may decide to follow any type of polyamorous lifestyle, whilst the monogamous partner does not. But communication and consent with their monogamous partner is still essential. This relationship can be healthy if both partners are getting their needs met. But it can also become codependent when taken as a step to save a relationship, whereas one partner has a history of cheating. Some monogamous find that they don't care to date anyone else, that they don't mind their partner dating. It all comes down to personal preferences. Different polyamorous lifestyles may have different boundaries. Polywebs, also called polyfamilies, describe people who are all connected through polyamorous lifestyles. People who are part of a polyweb or polyfamily aren't always necessarily romantically involved with each other. Sometimes they're simply connected through their various partners. Polywebs may sometimes live together or near each other, and they may share household duties, like a sister wife. This setup is popular in the queer community, a chosen family for people estranged from their biological family. Now, polyamory and polygamy are vastly different. Polyamory involves the idea of navigating and consenting to multiple simultaneous relationships. Polyamory encompasses a wide range of types of people with many different religions, backgrounds, political views, and interests. Polygamy, on the other hand, is the practice of having multiple spouses, and unlike polyamory, which focuses on being an equitable form of non-monogamy, polygamy isn't always as such. Polygamy often has a religious or cultural motivation to it, and it is often not equitable for everyone involved. For example, polygamy, the most common form of polygamy, involves one man having multiple wives. This is usually an inequitable relationship, as the wives are not able or allowed to take on other partners, and it can have other inequitable aspects to it as well. Of course, that's not to say that polygamy can't be consensual or equitable non-monogamy, but ultimately, polygamy and polyamory are two separate lifestyles that can't necessarily be compared. Just to clarify, unlike any other relationship, polyamorous relationships work best when partners can establish rules and boundaries that work for everyone. And that starts with discussing everything openly and honestly. There are three main components to consider when doing this in relationships. Firstly, it's important to identify everyone's thoughts, feelings, and values. Secondly, it's necessary to be able to communicate those thoughts, feelings, and values with each other. And thirdly, it's crucial to be able to communicate these things with an open mind and without judgment. These components are difficult when discussing intense topics, but are important skills for every person in polyamorous or monogamous relationships. If this is something you're experiencing difficulties with in your relationships, there's no shame in reaching out for help. If necessary, seeking a poly-friendly therapist or coach can be helpful to build these skills. I am here to assist. Contact me through my site. American fashion retailer American Eagle and Hollywood actress Sydney Sweeney have been the subject of fierce criticism for a jeans advert which was aimed at raising awareness for domestic abuse. Instead, the campaign has sparked backlash over racial undertones. The new ad campaign featuring Euphoria and White Lotus star Sydney Sweeney has sparked fierce backlash over racial undertones, leading some to label it as tone deaf and even Nazi. Another case of Godwin's law, which states that any online discussion that goes on for long enough will increase the probability of a comparison involving Nazis. Or is this ad so poorly fashioned that critics have a point? Let's start, as logic dictates, at the beginning. The popular American actress appears in a campaign for American Eagle, designed to celebrate American style. In it, the 27-year-old is wearing a pair of jeans and tells viewers, "I'm not here to tell you to buy American Eagle jeans. And I definitely won't say they're the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn, or that they make my butt look amazing." Then the slogan, "Sydney Sweeney has great jeans," pops up on the screen. Fair enough, as they do look comfortable. However, the actress then says, see what I did there, right? Highlighting the jeans with the J to jeans with a G, double entendre. This was taken a step further in a follow-up video posted to American Eagle's Instagram, which shows Sweeney approaching a billboard with the phrase, "Great jeans" with a G, and striking out the word jeans with a G and replacing it with jeans with a J. And another spot, Sweeney says, "Genes with a G are passed down from parents to offspring, often determining traits like hair, eye color, personality. My genes are blue." This is followed by a voiceover that states, "Sydney Sweeney has great genes." Clever wordplay for some, significantly more problematic for others. Indeed, critics have accused the ad of peddling Nazi propaganda, pointing out that the play on words with great genes with the G has racist connotations and supports white supremacist ideals. Many have also highlighted that considering Sweeney has blue eyes and blonde hair, it echoes eugenic messaging, sparking debate between those who think the controversy is overblown by the woke brigade, and those who believe that this is not only a reminder of the fashion world's long history of celebrating white privilege, but an unintentional mirroring of fascist ideas. Then there are also those who are convinced that the phrasing of the advert was by design, and the American Eagle was looking to kick the hornet's nest when it comes to issues of race and nationalism during a time of ICE raids. The campaign purports to raise awareness of domestic violence, with a line designed by Sweeney called the Sweeney Gene, with the full purchase price going to the crisis text line, which offers mental health support. Many online have labelled this completely tone deaf. The actress has not released a statement regarding the backlash. Neither has American Eagle. An innocent mistake, a fascist campaign, or a shameless attempt to rile people up to give the brand publicity. If it's the latter, the viral spot worked. It raised the company's stock by a reported 15%, representing an estimated $310 million boost to its market value since their release. It would seem that the courting controversy, no matter how crass, does wonders for your stock. Financially speaking, however, when it comes to public opinion and reputational risks, it's a more dangerous gamble. We'll see where it goes from here and what implications that has for the collective consciousness. A massive 8.8 magnitude earthquake struck off Russia's remote east coast Wednesday local time, sending tsunami waves coursing across the Pacific as millions of people from around the world were urged to evacuate to higher ground. The earthquake is tied for the 6th strongest ever recorded, and is the strongest since 2011, when a 9.0 magnitude earthquake hit northeast Japan, triggering a devastating tsunami. Several large tsunami waves, 5 feet high, hit Hawaii. The state's governor warned that the impact will wrap around the islands. In Japan, more than 1.9 million people were told to evacuate as waves, some measuring over 4 feet, hit the country's northern and eastern coasts. Tsunami warnings and advisories are in effect for California and the rest of the US West Coast, as further tsunami waves are expected. Countries including Russia, the Philippines, Indonesia, Chile, Peru, and Ecuador also issued warnings. It's too early to say how damaging any tsunami waves have been. Maybe initial impacts have been minimal, but experts across the Pacific warn the scale of waves can vary greatly in different locations and are urging the public to stay away from coastlines. Tsunami waves can also continue to impact coastlines hours after they first hit. The earthquake's epicenter is about 74 miles, 119 kilometers southeast of Petropavlovsk-Limache city on Kamchatka Peninsula in East Russia at a depth of 20.7 kilometers, according to the US Geological Survey. Kamchatka, which is sparsely populated, is part of the Pacific Ring of Fire, an area of intense seismic and volcanic activity on both sides of the Pacific Ocean. 2 powerful aftershocks of 6.3 and 6.9 magnitudes struck off Russia in the hour after the initial earthquake. Dozens more aftershocks above a magnitude of 5 also struck the region in the immediate hours after the earthquake triggered tsunami alerts from Russia. The eastern Pacific to Ecuador and Chile, thousands of miles away across the Pacific Ocean, tsunami waves began reaching Hawaii's coast early evening local time, according to data from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. A tsunami wave over 5 feet was reported in Kahului on the north central shore of Maui Island, according to the NOAA. Tsunami waves measuring 4.3 feet was observed at Coogee Port. northeastern Japan, according to the Japanese Meteorological Agency, which added that tsunami waves were growing. Tsunami warnings, the most severe type of tsunami alert, are currently in place for Hawaii and the California coast. The Cape Mendocino to the Oregon border, tsunami advisories, a lesser alert level, are in place for the rest of the US West Coast and Alaska's Aleutian Islands, as well as British Columbia, Canada. The Oceanic Graphic and Analytic Institute said the Galapagos Islands could see a wave measuring 4.6 feet by 9 a.m. local time. The Integrated Tsunami Alert System of Mexico and Central America has issued a tsunami alert that stretches from Ensantia on Mexico's northwest coast to the Central American country of Panama. Advisories were also in place for several Pacific U.S. territories, including Guam, the Northern Mariana Islands, and American Samoa. As Hawaii braced for impact, Honolulu's mayor told residents to seek higher ground as sirens played across the city. And emergency shelters began opening in the islands of Oahu, Koli, and Maui. We need people to stay calm, but also to act accordingly. If you can get to higher ground, if you're in a low-lying area, please do that. Rick Plan yesterday said Governor Josh Green urged residents to evacuate coastal zones right away in a news conference after the first waves hit. Green said, "So far, we have not seen a wave of consequence, which is a great relief to us." He added that no damage has been reported so far, and there hasn't been yet wave activity traveling past Hawaii's Big Island hotels along the west coast. Big Island was evacuating guests on Tuesday evening local time. All flights in and out of Maui had been cancelled, leaving about 200 people sheltering in their terminal. The governor said the first tsunami waves have hit the coast of Japan, Russia, Alaska, and Hawaii, but minimal damage has been reported so far. Japan's northernmost island, Hokkaido, was one of the first places to report tsunami waves measuring up to 2 feet. Along with parts of Russia, tsunami sirens could be heard blaring through the parts of the island on Wednesday morning. Videos shared by Reuters and the Nippon News network showed people taking refuge on a roof. More than 1.9 million people across Japan have been urged to move to safer ground as waves up to 1.6 feet slap the country's east coast, inching closer to Tokyo. That's far below the initial forecast of up to 3 meters though. That could change, and additional waves could follow in the Russian district. Near the epicenter of the earthquake, a state of emergency was issued after tsunami waves lashed the coast, tearing boats from their mooring and carrying away storage containers. According to state media, TASS, and videos from the scene, nearly 300 people were evacuated from the port. Regional emergency services told state-run RA News. Tsunami waves of 3 to 4 meters high were recorded in the district of Karmachka, according to Russian authorities. Bachelor in Paradise is heating up, and a lot of it is because of the controversies that are simmering and have not yet come out. The red flags are still flagging, the same relationships are holding on by a thread, and the same red flags that are not being addressed. Kat and Dale have the same red flags. They're holding on to each other because they're beautiful people, and that happens. It happens. It is the physical, the lust, those things. They're hard to. We're human. That's what we're here for. It just depends on your purpose. I am not saying that that type of relationship does not have its place, but it depends on what sort of relationship you're seeking. And that's what I do when I'm coaching you when you're dating. Are you dating for marriage? Are you dating for a sustainable relationship for fun? Are you dating just to be your own sole priority, but then have a physical connection? There are many levels to dating. There are no wrong ways to do it. Well, there are wrong ways to do it, but if you have a clear idea and expectation of what you want to fit in your life, then there is no wrong way to execute that. You do not have to get married. You do not have to have a stereotypical relationship. You do not have to have monogamy. There are many, many ways that you can have a loving interaction with another or other human beings. Human beings, I stress. And live a fulfilling life. Longevity, short term, however you want it. But as long as you are getting and looking for and achieving the type of relationship that you want, based on the type of relationship you want, will tell you what types of people to go after, what types of behaviors to accept, etc. And if those are things you have trouble with, that is what I help you with. So please contact me through my site, or just watch these videos, and hopefully this will be enough of assistance to help you maneuver, those waters, for the waters that you, whether it be a pond, a lake, a river, an ocean, whichever way you want, something that's still moving, fast moving, waves, etc. They all have different aspects. No body of water is wrong. They are all healing. So just pick your body of water, know what comes with it, know what type of attire to be in, know what type of parasites are in there and what health concerns, etc. And yeah, that's actually great. I might use that as a joke material, but anyway, so Paris and Brian, they are showing signs of imploding. Brian also wants to tell Bailey that Jeremy had the crash out. Jeremy is still talking about how he wants to go get the other girl, and it's just I'm insane. I'm like mad with these people and how they are pretending and doing one thing, and let this be a lesson that someone can be that into you and still play you. You may think, Bailey's planning, I might say yes to an engagement, whereas he's thinking, I should have got Susie, I should have kept her, and she, I can't commit to. He already knows that he doesn't want to be with her, but he just wants to stay for the holiday. And she doesn't know how to she doesn't know how to recognize the behaviors and the red flags. And it's such double standard, because he went out with somebody on a date and then is condemning her for doing the exact same thing he did just the next day. But that's what they'll do, and they won't tell you. Their resentment will build up, and they won't tell you. They'll just wait to your most precious moment, and then they'll break you. So that's why you don't listen to the words. Listen to the words, they're beautiful, but don't listen to the words. Don't hear the words. Don't ingrain the words. The actions. If possible, a lot of brains, they look at actions as stories. That's how they memorize things. Their story goes in their head. Instead of listening to their words, look at their actions and let that be the story that tells your brain. Make that the words that tells your brain how they feel, instead of the actual words that are coming out of their mouth. Some of you may not understand that, but some of you will. Some people think in colours and words and songs and lyrics. So when they look at something to memorize it, it's actually a story being told in their brain, which is why they're able to memorize it. Anyway, I digress. So I don't know how many weeks are left of Bachelor in Paradise, but for them to get to the point of engagement, and I don't know how many people are still coming in, but I have not seen any healthy relationship on any of these dating shows except for the ones that they evict. So yeah, I believe they are trying to create an unhealthy dating culture because the birth rates are down, and they want everyone to form these fast connections, get into a situation where they cannot get out of, and they have more teenage babies. That is what I am seeing by how they are marketing these reality shows and who they are marketing them to, and the behaviors that they are exalting on. So please be careful, be mindful, be smart, make good choices, make good decisions, look at the behavior, don't listen to the words. Know that all of those other things are beautiful, but they are extra. They are extra. Know what to focus on. And if you need help, I'm here for you. I love you. Love Island UK, another week of non-disappointing action. However, still no examples of healthy relationships. Harry continues to play his game of yo-yo, and he may end up breaking the string and losing it all, to be quite honest. He knows, probably because it happens in his real life, that he can play women, and he is so good at it that they fall for it because they were falling for it when they were right in front of each other. So he is probably lethal in the real world. And now with the engine of Love Island, he is going to be unstoppable. I'm kind of curious as to what he possesses that is so magnetic for these women. And another thing is, it might also be the fact that they are trapped in this house together, and there is low hope for anyone else coming in, which is kind of how the mentality of the collective population was before internet, before magazines, before people knew what was out there. They would settle for what was around them more quickly, more readily. They would not seek because they didn't think it is possible. So that is possibly a mentality that forms when you're trapped in a house like that. And these intelligent girls, Tony, Shakira, borderline Yasmin, they accept connections that they know are not worthy of them, are damaging to them, and that they wouldn't normally pick. Now, I say that, but theoretically, they still might make those same bad decisions outside of the house. So we don't 100% know that it's only because they're in the house. This could just be a behaviour pattern, and they're trying to look good for telly, and they're not strong enough. But anyway, Harry may end up losing everything. He's had his fun, he's played around. If he ends up with one of them, ladies, please take a lesson. Look at how these women are looking. Don't let that be you. Now, we have the fortunate opportunity to not have cameras following us around everywhere, not having our mistakes blasted all over for everyone to criticise, but use this as a guide and an example of what not to do and how not to look the fool, and know when to walk away, know the games they play, and make your decisions smarter. Now, unfortunately, Shakira is suffering a pretty girl curse, which happens a lot. Because she is so lovely, she will have so many men make a conquest of her. And unfortunately, if she falls for one, which usually happens to be the most charismatic, the most showy of them all, which is why if you watch my dating multiple people roster dating, which was on last volume 14, I mentioned that you should not compare them. You should not try to play them against each other, because in the moment you're a little bit blurred and you're going to pick the charismatic one, which may not be the right one. Trust your feeling, trust your instinct, trust your connection. The showy stuff, it's fun, it's nice. Now, I'm saying this with the assumption that you are picking fellas that are worthy of you to begin with. You're not taking someone off the street, someone who is a millionaire, someone who is, and it is not all based off of finances, but that is, resources are a key element to your choice of a mate, ladies, because of the fact of our particular characteristics, what we give to this universe, this world, the energy, the creation, the offspring. We need to be in a safe environment. We need to have resources. Now, because we create communities, we need someone that is going to protect the community. And yes, gender roles are very up in arms right now, and the battle of the sexes is, everyone feels that they're right, but biologically look in nature, look at how the ecosystems are created and thrive. The woman has the energy of creation. The man has the power and the protection. Once the man realizes he is not in competition with the divine femme, but the divine femme is there to exalt him, and if he protects it, to make him more powerful, then it will not be a game, it will not be a competition, but a balanced ecosystem. But I digress. Shakira, she's suffering from the pretty girl syndrome, and that is when you have a lot of conquests and you fall for that charismatic one, and then your heart is broken. You have to heal that, and it takes women longer to heal, because when women do that work, unlike men who just keep bouncing, which is why eventually they feel empty, because by the time they catch up, their brain catches up with their emotions, they're already 10 relationships past when it happened, and then it's too late, usually, to remedy what happened, and then they are damaged and they go out and damage more. With a woman, she will sit and she will heal herself, usually. Not all women, because not all women are taught this, but innately we know we have to sit within ourselves, to nurture and to heal. We go through a lot of pain, we understand this. And by this point, Shakira unfortunately has a broken heart from the charismatic one, Harry, and now she needs to heal, so she cannot see anyone of value at this point. So this is the pretty girl curse, is that you will have so many suitors, but the one that you pick will damage you, so that you no longer can see the value in the other suitors. And then unfortunately, those suitors will move on to something better. And then by the time you are healed, you realize what you have lost, but then it is too late. So a lot of beautiful women end up hurt and alone as a result of this beautiful girl curse. Do not become that beautiful girl curse. Be that beautiful girl that thrives. And the way to do that is, do not fall so quickly, so fast. Vet them all. Make sure that they are worthy of handling your heart and protecting your heart. Unlike Harry, it is very important, before you become vulnerable, physically, emotionally, spiritually, all of those things, to someone who is physically stronger, who can damage your world, who can take things from you or put you in a situation to make you dependent on them and then control you. And if you don't think that happens, then this is not the right place for you to be, to listen. I'm trying to help people to avoid these situations, become empowered, choose healed, healthy relationships from healed, healthy partners that they can pick because of their behavior, not based on what they say. What they say is beautiful, and yes, it's great to hear, but always look at their actions. And I'm showing the actions to look for, and how to mirror to cater your behavior, so that you do not fall for the breadcrumbing and the pretenders and the harem thinkers and the F-boys and all. I mean, an F-boy has its place. I'm not saying they don't. They are beautiful and they are good at good things, but you need to realize where they belong, and which there are different types of men. And I will do a video on that, on the different types of men and which ones to go for and which ones to avoid. But for the purpose of this, we're just focusing on Love Island. Pretty girl curse. She picked Harry, now she's ruined. That happens to a lot of women, unfortunately. So do not become that girl, become the girl that protects her heart, picks, qualifies them by their actions, recognizes their red flags, believes them when they show you who they are, and is discriminant about the energy that you share and how you connect with them. It is not wrong to say no or to turn someone down. Do not care about their feelings. Care more about how it affects your life, because you are the only one who can protect you. You are the only one who knows what it is to be you. Protect your reality. Value your reality above all, especially if you're not a parent. Now, Meg coming back in is actually a great time. I don't know if it was planned on, because Meg and Connor both have now a very clear pathway, which is very fortunate. They just do these things. I don't know if that was, which again brings me to the question if there's really voting, or if they use that as an excuse to manipulate who comes and goes and who they want in the villa. But if someone knows, please fill me in. But anyway, that hopefully can blossom into something, because they are now the best chance at having something healthy, because everything else in there is insane. Even Yasmin and Jamie, It's showing to be something healthy, and because it has taken so long for Yasmin to find someone, but I don't know, it seems a little bit forced. We'll see what happens. I wish them the best, but we'll see. I wouldn't say there are necessarily red flags, except for Yasmin sometimes could be perceived as a red flag, but we'll see what happens. Now with Meg and Dejan, they are very calculated. They may last to the end, but it's because they are both like-minded but in different ways. Meg, I believe, wants to do it for the love. Dejan may have money on the mind, although to save face he may split it if they win, but I don't know if they would win because of the fact that you can see the calculatedness in Dejan especially. Meg, unfortunately, I believe, may just be a victim and there for the ride. I hope that things will evolve into something more stable, but like I said, fire and air, I don't know what their signs are, but I'm guessing Meg is a fire and Dejan is an air. He is very calculated, intellectual, she's very fiery and emotional. They together, he rile each other up, it would make sense. But if it's real, I hope they last past the villa and they can heal each other, because they do trigger each other. Helena is crashing. Helena, you can see the cortisol raising up in her. You can see that Harry is stressing her out. Ladies, please understand, this is what a man will do. You can see it in them. If you look at the first episode, they were healthy, they were blossoming, they were beautiful. Harry has stressed them the F out. He has played them, and the cortisol is in their face. But anyway, there really are no healthy examples at this point to point out. Tony also is with her second choice, which unfortunately, because of how things were, he knows that. So whereas before his intentions were honest and he cares for her, and he may still care for her, but now he remembers. Now she has dented, she has tainted, it is no longer shiny, so he may become calculated as well. Unfortunately, we hope that they will receive us back and be okay with it, but I have my suspicions. Most fellas, if you treat them that way, especially with such a short period of time, they start to build up resentment. So I hope Tony survives this, because she's probably my favourite girl for the most part, of entertainment and quirky, cute, and one-liners and all that stuff. And she does have her head on her shoulders, but she makes wrong decisions. But, you know, we'll see what next week brings. But again, all examples of horrendous behaviour that you should not be putting up with. So hopefully you are watching it for entertainment, and you are listening to the counteractive recipe here, so that you know what is acceptable, what is not acceptable, what to look for, and how to respond. So hopefully this has been helpful to you. We have a few more weeks left, and we will see where it evolves to. Hopefully it does better than Love Island USA, which was a complete disaster. But to be quite honest, Love Island UK is looking very Anglo. But, you know, we'll see how it goes. That seems to be the theme in the air lately. But that's for another video. So we'll see what it brings next week. Okay, so Big Brother this week. No showmances. So nothing to report on the showmance frontier, except there may be a surprise one. Now, I did say that the ones with the similar vibration were attracted to each other, but the surprising thing is, because Lauren did not want a showmance with Zach, the ironic thing is, she paired up with Vince, and him protecting her, he may actually get an in there. He may get to punch up. He may get a better quality, and that's actually how it happens a lot in the real world. A fella who is, say, a 6 or a 7 will have something to offer the 9, and that's how you get those relationships where people are like, how did they end up together? Vince and Lauren may end up being a surprise showmance because of the fact that they grow closer and fight the house together. So I'm actually in for that, which by default, it's almost like a math equation, because Kelly and Vince were the wavelength. and then Lauren and Zach were the wavelength. Now, by Vince and Lauren getting together, it displaces Kelly and Zach. Now here's the ironic thing. Because they no longer are with them, the ironic thing of not being in a showmance is they actually become the threat. Kelly has also positioned herself with so many competitions. She is feeling empowered, and it is probably very intoxicating. But you have to be careful to coming out playing so strongly. The first time that was fine, but to keep doing that each week, yes, in real life, those are things you want to do. But watch how everyone is going to start to see her as a threat and turn on her. And that is kind of how it happens in real life, which is why you have to be careful who you share your victories with. Understand the relationships that you have and what information to share with who. So that is also a key element there. So Kelly and Zach will actually probably end up being evicted first because of their displacement, ironically. And it will possibly push Vince and Lauren into a showmance, ironically. Now, here's the delicate part. Vince will more than likely be into Lauren because she is the higher vibration, whereas she still may reject Vince. But then that's the problem, where a lot of beautiful girls that have friends that fancy them and reject them, it creates a really weird energy. So that is where it could get tricky, because they're working together in a game. Sometimes when a beautiful woman has someone who has something that they need, they will act a certain way so that they can still have access to that. So they will flirt and they will be beautiful. But it's not true. It's almost a form of emotional hostage, and that happens a lot to beautiful women because people want that energy from them, and they will have something to offer, but they will be stingy with it so that they can get that energy more. So as a beautiful woman, be careful of that. Watch that. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it is a possibility. If she rejects him, he will start to use him protecting her or being in that relationship with her. So it's a very delicate line that beautiful women walk when they are having relationships with men. That's why it's scary, and that's why you have to look at the flags, you have to look at the behavior, and that's why I'm here to teach you. So hopefully that doesn't happen with Vince and Lauren, but it could go either way. It could go three ways. They could remain friends, he could keep his actions hidden, and they could go far. Or he can express his feelings, she can mirror them because he's protected her and they've bonded, and she goes, and sometimes they make that connection. Or he could express his feelings, she could reject him, and then subconsciously he wants to get her out of the house. That is how it happens in real life. So be very careful, women, when you have these males that offer you something. If they are offering you something, or if they are something that you need, be careful, be mindful, watch those connections carefully, watch the behaviors carefully, so that you know what to expect and how to protect yourself or how to behave. So we'll see where that one goes. Ava and Rachel, that's also a surprise, which I think is adorable, which is also a displacement, because Ava and Keanu were the ones that were kind of bamming at each other, a similar vibration but ramming at each other. By Keanu dropping off, Ava drawn to Rachel. Now that is not a romantic relationship, but it's an energetic, similar match vibration. So I love Rachel, so we'll see how that goes. Hopefully Ava can be trustworthy, because this is the opportunity of a lifetime. Ava, don't F it up. Oof, be loyal to Rachel, please. And then we have a lot of people that are just kind of going under the radar, because I don't know if it's because Rachel coached them and told them to go out to watch the showmances, or if because that's just how it is evolving. Mickey, Morgan, Ashley and Adrian. Adrian was on the block, but somehow he still manages to kind of slip under the radar. Will, however, is not doing himself any favors by making statements of, oh, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that. You have no power. This is the classic male behavior, is saying what you are and are not going to do when you have no power. Men that believe in ranking and who is boss, and I'm going to puff up and machismo. In this house it doesn't work that way, so we'll see how his behavior works in this house. Hopefully, I mean, he went against Rachel, he did the bromance thing, he voted for somebody he knew, Zay, who was going to go out because of a bromance thing. He's not making good decisions, he's making man machismo decisions. So I mean,
I wouldn't be surprised if he gets out soon, but those are red flags also. That sort of behaviour that, oh, I'm not going to be this, I'm not going to be on the block, and is it telling the head of the house that is a woman that you are not going to be nominated, you're not going to be the scapegoat? Seriously? That's what you think is a good move? Yes, anyway. Red flags. Ladies, if fellas come to you and tell you how things are going to be, how you're going to be, especially when it concerns your body, yeah, red flag. This is why I say, make your own money, have your own situation, make yourself safe, so that you attract someone that is not going to save you, but accentuate your life. And that, if they are not the right one, you can leave. Always have your own protection. Always be able to take care of yourself. Do not let men tell you how things are going to be. Your life, your choice, your decision. And we're talking about Big Brother, but the reason why I love these reality shows is because it mirrors society and it shapes it, and based on what you see, it's how you behave. And that is also why I do this, so that you don't mistake what is happening as how you should behave, because there are so many red flags, and you need to know which behaviors to avoid and which behaviors to be attracted to. So, yeah, we'll keep watching this. Rachel's off the chain. Love all of her drama, all of her little, I mean, it breaks my heart when she cries. She doesn't have Brendan, she doesn't have anyone to coddle her there, and he was her rock. I'm proud of her for being able to stand up by herself. So go, Rachel, and I hope you make it. Like, if you are the first person to win twice, I hope so, because you deserve it, of all people. You and Janelle, like, you are my powerhouse girls. Of course there are others, but the pair of you are like my top two, and I'm rooting for you, Rachel. I hope we get this. I say we, as I'm in there with you. But Rachel, you are so intelligent, you are so strong, and you have the skills of reading people. And I've watched you on so many things, even on Traitors. Such a big fan. Get it, I'm rooting for you. So it'll be exciting to watch as these weeks unfold and see if the romances happen, the showmances, the sisterhoods, the red flags, and all of the behaviours that I'm going to tell you what to avoid, what to look out for, and in your own life, what you should accept and what you should get away from, because we are not trapped in a house. We can leave. So always make yourself have a situation where you can leave, where you do have freedom, where you're not stuck, you're not hostage by someone else. So take care of you, and keep tuning in and learning and being discerned. Love you. Okay, this week's movie recommendation is High Rollers. High Rollers is kind of like a cross between Ocean's 11 and Taken. It's about a high risk kind of casino heist and a girlfriend being taken, and that is the ransom. It's with John Travolta, Gina Gershon, and a few other high name celebrity actors. It is not exactly the same caliber as Ocean's 11 and Taken, but it is entertaining. It is a good date night movie. It is, I'd give it like a high 3, almost a 4. It's not quite a 4 for me. It does have some action scenes. It does not have the crimson, so it is kind of teenager friendly. I wouldn't necessarily say it was a family film. It has a long distance love element. It doesn't really have like that close love element, that fire, but it has the theme of I'm doing this to save my woman. So if you're looking for kind of that romantic element, it's kind of missing. It does have the element of, there's a wedding at the beginning, but that love is dashed also, but I don't want to ruin it for you. But yes, it is a of what's been released lately, it is something that I would recommend to watch for just like a date night, just something fun, something that you don't necessarily have to pay 100% attention to. It has a good it's fast moving. You can tap into it and still chat to somebody and come back and still be entertained. So it's not something that you have to be riveted listening to every word, and something that you maybe want to watch by yourself, otherwise you'll be lost by the time you pay attention to it. It's something that you can, it's just fun, entertaining, action packed, good looking actors, scenery, decent special effects, things like that, editing, all that. Not necessarily an intelligent plot line or dialogue, but like I said, it's entertaining. So it's good for date night, and hopefully I can find something that will hit all of those areas and be as amazing as the gorge. That is my staple. That is my top tier right now. That is what I started this little segment for, and I am still. It's kind of like that first hit you take. It's like you keep taking hits, just trying to achieve that greatness again. And I'm sorry I made a narcotic drug comparison, but that's kind of how it is. And hopefully I'll find something really great and beautiful. But for this week, high rollers. It's fun, action packed, like Ocean's 11 meets Taken, and and some high caliber actors, which I wouldn't say it's their best performance, but they do a great job. Okay, so we'll see what I can have for you next week. Now there's some laughs.
And now for the talented lady that takes F-boy resumes in the DM. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together in welcoming Virol Galalani to the stage.
I love fellas on the rebound. It's my new type. Broken men, looking for love and validation. Yes. They're more eager, with a lower self-esteem. So they're always trying to do the things they didn't do with their former partner. They want to live life, try new things, prove their worth. I'm into that. Yes, babes, let's go to Paris. Yes. You want to pretend like we're who? And you're going to do what to me?
Oh, yeah.
What's the safe word? No, babes. I don't think you're a simp because you bought me a new Bentley. You're just communicating in my love language. And I understand deeply.
Oh, yeah.
So keep damaging your men, ladies.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll be waiting.
And check out the latest from Aglorev Entertainment for all of your level up needs.